Wait till you come to Navan.
There'll be no problems in Navan, Rory.
How many train stations are you looking for, Tommy?
Pardon?
How many train stations will you be looking for in Navan?
I don't think I'll ever live to see one. Never mind these fellas looking for train stations. My father used to say along with this was getting a new tractor. Someone would tell him, he said it must be in Tierney's, was a tie shop. So it'll be the same with the train. It'll be a tie train now at Tierney's. That's the only one to see in Navan.
Yes. Well, Joe Fox isn't looking for a train anyhow. That's one thing.
Oh, Joe has a train. Joe has a train.
I have a train. I wanted the train stop. I wanted to stop.
Joe's delivered already. No messing with Joe.
Yeah, Dave.
I have a train. No, it's a hill down is what I want.
Right. All right. Morning, Larry.
Morning, Rory. Morning, folks.
Morning, Larry.
Good.
Larry, you tell me.
So good morning, everybody. We'll be recommencing the meeting now in about 2 or 3 minutes, just to allow people to finally get in. Welcome everybody to the meeting this morning. And I'll just be running through some of the key directions with regards to interacting with the meeting before we start. And then we will be recommencing with the submissions from the Drogheda South Environs, where we had stopped the meeting on Tuesday. So in about 2 or 3 minutes, I'll be back and then we'll start the meeting. Is that okay?
And
Great. Thank you.
Morning, everybody.
Morning, Joe.
Hi, Joe.
Morning.
Hello.
Yeah.
Morning, Joe. Hi.
Have we a quorum? Because I may have to drop out before the end. Are we okay with that? Will you have enough? Does anyone know?
oh, I think we have, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's grand. Perfect. Thanks.
Good job.
Morning, everyone.
Hi, Nick.
Hi, Nick.
Nick.
Morning.
Nick, how are you doing?
Hi, Nick.
How are you, Linda?
Huh?
Morning, Nicholas Killeen.
Good morning, Thomas Riley. You're looking very elegant this morning.
Hope you're feeling better.
Yeah.
Yes, getting better.
Good.
How are you, Nick? How are you doing?
Hello, Francis. How are you? Hello, Cahir. Look.
He's a bit shy this morning. Yeah.
Is he? How are you, Rory?
I'm good, Nick. I'm good. How are things in Ashburn?
Well, I haven't seen Ashburn since Christmas Eve.
You've been in the house?
I've been in the house, yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
Good process. Yeah. Alan, how are you?
Sure, we have Alan and Joe there to look after Ashburn, sure.
I know, they're in capable hands, yeah.
Capable hands, yeah.
That's why you moved into our area.
Oh, I see, an interloper.
So good morning, everybody. I hope everybody is ready to recommence the county development plan. So what we'll start with, if everyone is ready, what we start I'll quickly go through the key directions for the interaction with the meeting on a remote point of view. So the email with the link for this meeting included a number of key directions, which I'd like to underline. All participants must have their camera on during the meeting, and you should have your microphone on mute at all times, unless called upon by the Cathaoirleach, myself, to speak. It is the personal responsibility of all participants to ensure that there are no persons present who are not entitled to be present for this meeting. The recording of the meeting or any part thereof is not permitted, or the posturing that may suggest you're recording the video is not permitted either. No member of the public should attempt to speak or interrupt the meeting or interact with members of the council during the meeting. And you must observe directions given by the Cathaoirleach or by a council official, and failure to follow any direction given may result in exclusion from the meeting. And for members, if you wish to speak, you should use the hand function and you'll be given the floor. And the hand function will also be used for voting unless a roll call vote is required. So just again, before we start, is everybody familiar with where the raised hand function is? And just so just to ensure that everybody knows how to raise their hand. We are sure of that now, then it will be, it'll save us some time later. And if that is clear to everybody, we'll formally recommence the meeting with the submission, the consideration of the submissions for Tier 1 settlements. I might just hand you over to Sean as well, just to go through his element of as well, to ensure everybody is clear on your obligations as well.
Thanks, Gerlach. I'm just going to call that up now. Yeah, members, the usual statutory obligations with regards to your role as a councillor during the county development plan, the ethical framework for local government services, the code of conduct for councillors, and you being individually responsible for being compliant with same. It is an offence if you can fail to comply with some sections of the ethical framework. Disclosure at meetings. In advance of a meeting where you may have a disclosure of, where you may have a beneficial interest, you must disclose to the meeting the nature of the beneficial interest before discussion or consideration of the matter. You should physically absent yourself from the meeting until the matter is concluded. The disclosure and your absence from the meeting will be recorded in the minutes, and you should then inform the council's ethics registrar in writing after the meeting of the nature of the beneficial interest so that your register of interests can be updated. In advance of a meeting where you're not in attendance of the meeting, you must do the same, but you must also make your disclosure in writing and furnish it to the council's ethics register in advance of the meeting. And again, this disclosure will be recorded in the minutes of the meeting. Regarding planning legislation and making a county development plan, you are reminded that you are restricted to considering the proper planning and sustainable development of the area to which the plan relates, and the statutory obligations of any local authority in the area and any relevant policies or objectives for the time being for the government or minister of the government. And finally, just to reiterate what the member said, meetings should not be recorded by anyone other than the meeting administrator. That includes audio or visual recording. Thank you.
Thank you, Sean. So we recommence now with the Southern Environs of Drogheda, the submissions.
Thanks, Gerlach. Members, just in relation to the submissions that come in on the Southern Environs of Drogheda, 15 submissions in total come in. Again, just to reiterate what we said on Monday and Tuesday, the Chief Executive has recommended no change to the Southern Environs of Drogheda, save for 5 changes there, where we have 4 changes recommended and 1 part change, and they are as a result of text changes or updating a planning register as a result of a planning application that occurred following on from the draft being on public display. The reason being, again, is because Southern Environs of Drogheda is subject to a joint urban area plan, and any changes will happen as a result of that. So just pass it through then the no changes, the changes and the part changes. Sorry, I'm just being told I'm not. Can you see the presentation there, members?
We can just see the introduction to the county development plan.
Okay. Just going to come out of it again a second. Can you see that slide there now? No. I'll stop sharing and reshare again. Sorry, apologies.
Again, in the interim, if I could just remind members and all participants to mute their microphone, that would be great. There's some additional noise there that may not be necessary.
Okay, Gerlach. So yeah, there we have the summary of the submissions received for Drogheda. 15 submissions, 10 with no change recommended, 4 with a change recommended, and 1 with a part change recommended. And breaking them down then through the numbers, that they are the numbers. Again, as per usual, if any member wants us to go into any particular submission, we can certainly do that. Otherwise, as agreed at the start of all these meetings back in November, we are dealing with them in group, as a group. Thanks, Gerlach.
Thank you, Sean. So what we'll do is we need a proposer for the for the 10 no change recommended. If we have somebody to propose those.
Sharon Tolan here, yeah.
Sharon Tolan. And we have a seconder.
I've seconded it there with my hand up.
Councillor Tobin, thank you. Councillor, okay. So what we'll do is, are we in agreement with the Chief Executive's recommendation of no change? So if we just do a show of hands on in agreement. Councillor Murphy. Councillor Tormey. Yeah, and then we will, so if you could take down your hands now, please. And those, just when everybody has their hand down. Thank you. And now people who who are in disagreement or do not agree with the Chief Executive's recommendation, you could indicate your disagreement, please. Okay, thank you. So that we'll say is that is agreed. Thank you. So we move on to the 4 with the change recommended. If we could have a proposer for that, Councillor Behan. We have a seconder. Councillor Tolan. So are we in agreement with the Chief Executive's recommendation to accept the recommended changes? If you could indicate your agreement, please. And then if you could take down your hand, please. Councillor Tobin. Thank you very much. And if you could, those who are not in agreement with the Chief Executive's recommendation for the changes, please indicate your disagreement. Excellent. Thank you very much. And then, so we have one then part change recommended. If you could take down your hand, please, Councillor Keoghan. So we're looking for a proposer for that part. Councillor Behan, we seconder. Councillor Tolan. So those in agreement with the one part change as per recommended by the Chief Executive, you could indicate your support or your agreement first. Okay, if you could take down your indication, please. Councillor Adenuga, Councillor Fitzsimons. And so then if you could indicate if you are not in agreement with the Chief Executive's recommendation for the part change.
Yeah, so 14 plus 3.
Okay, thank you very much. So that concludes the submissions, and it concludes Councillor Tolan.
And could we just have the result of each vote at the end? Just put the for and against, if that's okay. Thanks.
Yeah, sure. So the three were for the no change recommended 19-1, 19 in agreement, 1 not in agreement. For the change 18-1, 18 in agreement, 1 not in agreement, and for the part change 18-1. Councillor Adenuga.
Yes, Kahilak. I was just wondering if you noticed that there were a couple of people who had their hands physically raised.
Yes,
and if that counted.
That counted as well. Just again, we would strongly encourage people to use the raised hand function. But if you know that would be standard, but we are catching people if they're just raising their hand. But it is preferred by far that if you could use the raised hand function. Councillor Meath. Thank you, Councillor.
Thank you, Kahirlik. And I just like to confirm, I was the one person that voted against the manager's report on the first one, just the first one. And my principal stance is that I don't agree with the way that the council is leaving everything to the joint plan. I believe things should be debated now, and I believe Drogheda the whole has too much residential zoning. And so that was my stance. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. And just again, of course, it is. If we compare our hybrid meeting with this meeting, it was that once the vast majority it was a clear decision made, as within the room. It was an indication of support by the majority of the room. If every vote people would like to have the results like this, it's no problem at all. It's just that's why it was a situation where we were just kind of gauging the majority's wish within the room, but it's no problem to go through the numbers like that. Is that okay? What it will be is that once the vote is carried, it won't be allowed to. Your justification for your vote cannot be presented after the vote is carried. So if you wish to indicate your disagreement during the course of the vote, before the vote takes place, is the time to do it. Just to make sure everybody is afforded the same kind of opportunity, and that we're consistent over the course of the debate and the remaining number of days in the meeting. Is that agreed? No need to vote. Okay, so we move on now. In the agenda, what we had a situation where was when we move on into tier 2, it was Navan, then Maynooth. But the suggestion is that we take Maynooth first because it is similar with regards to a joint urban plan with Kildare County Council. So I'll hand you over to Sean just to explain the thinking behind that and take us through it. Thank you.
Thanks, Gahir. Look, yes, similar to the Southern Environs at Drogheda, Maynooth is subject to a joint urban area plan on the basis that we have a shared boundary with Kildare County Council. For the exact same reasons and in the same theme as we dealt with the Southern Environs of Drogheda, the Chief Executive has recommended no change with regards to Maynooth, save for 2 changes that are as a result of submissions. And that is to update again text. It was the changing of a line on a map, and it also related to the correction of the reference to a master plan. Other than that, no other changes were recommended. Maynooth will be subject to a joint urban area plan. Again, it'll be once Meath adopt their county development plan and Kildare adopt their county development plan, we've commenced the exact same statutory process for the joint urban area plan with Kildare County Council. And just to advise members, Kildare's plan, the proposed date is for the 2023 to 2029 is their projections for their plans. So they're about to go to strategic issues paper in Kildare for their county development plan. So if I'll share the screen with you now and call up the presentations the presentation relating to Maynooth.
Councillor Toole. Councillor, if you could unmute yourself, please.
Apologies, should know by now. I just late last night going back through the documents and the recent set of maps that we received, particularly in relation to the most recent set of maps. And I know there was a revised table for the master plans. There was a revised table received where MP1 went to MP16 Moygadi, MP2 became MP17 Carton Domain. But just on the most recent maps that we've received, there's still designated MP1 and MP2, and also in relation to submission MHC5 224, the Meath Objective 3, and to move student accommodation north of the moor. On this map, the student accommodation OBJ3 is still in the same place. So just to flag that the mapping.
Thank you, Councillor. Let's come back on that, Sean.
Yeah, thanks, Gerlach. That's correct. Councillor Toole is right. The maps haven't been updated, members. They will be updated once we adopt the motions and the changes. So we haven't updated the maps until the motions themselves pass.